Hi, this is Erin Giles, and today I'm so excited to welcome Natalie Sisson from Suitcase Entrepreneur. Natalie is an adventurer. She lives for freedom, lives out of her suitcase, and helps entrepreneurs find creative ways to run their business from anywhere. Thank you so much for being here, Natalie.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. First, I want to touch on your newest endeavor, $100 Change. For the readers and viewers who haven't heard about it, would you mind going into what spurred this and what your goal really is with it?
For sure, I would love to, and thank you for letting me do that. So, $100 Change initiative came out of being at the World Domination Summit this year when Chris Guillebeau essentially gave away $100,000 to the 1,000 attendees in around 7 minutes. And he did that by giving out $100 change and saying, take this and have fun with it, surprise somebody, or do something pretty cool with it. And I remember when he put that out there, I was like, well, that's a challenge because Chris has just done something so incredibly generous. He's believed in all these people here that they can make serious change with $100. So I was like, how can I turn that back into like $1,000 or 10,000 or even better, 100,000? And I really racked my brain and I had an idea straight away as he was giving it out. I talked it over with so many attendees at the World Domination Summit because I think a lot of people were thinking what they could do. And some people have gone on to, give it to charity and do some really cool things. But for me, I was like, how can I make this have the most impact for other entrepreneurs? So I decided, what if I could get together 100 change makers to give 100 nuggets of wisdom over 100 days for $100 and then turn all the people who invest in that product or that email series, turn that profit into scholarships for entrepreneurs who can then apply for it to have their project or their initiative or their business idea funded. So that's the aim of it. It's very exciting. And that's it in a nutshell. It was all about like, how can we take that and then give it back to as many people and for those people's initiatives to impact hundreds of other entrepreneurs.
Absolutely amazing. And it came to you so quickly. I love that.
Yeah, it did actually. I think some of the best insights are those ones, huh? But then you've got to have the initiative and the courage to pull it off. And it was somebody I was talking to who said, "Oh, well, why not make it 10 change makers? What about 100?" And I was like, "In 100 days." And I was like, "Oh my God, that's just so much bigger, right?
What am I getting myself into?" And have you had any help doing all this, or are you doing it all on your own?
I've been lucky because honestly, if I was trying to do this all by myself, it would just be huge. So I'm doing almost all the outreach myself. I have an amazing network of friends, people I admire that I've met over the years. And I was going through my kind of Gmail Rolodex and went, wow, I know some super cool people. So it's just been stepping up to reach out and have the guts to say hello to them and talk to them. I've also asked a lot of people who have come on as change makers to suggest 1 to 2 people that they think are worthy of this initiative. Because what is a change maker, right? To me, it's somebody who's doing something pretty cool, even if it's small or if it's on a grand scale, but that it's impacting and affecting other people in a really positive way, whether they're creative, whether they're an entrepreneur, whether they're an artist, a publisher, working for a nonprofit. And then several of the people who have signed up to get the early announcement about it have also suggested people. I wanted their input. Who do you see as a change maker? I think I asked you as well, because it's not just my community or it's not just my realm of influence and people that I look to and admire. There's hundreds of people, thousands of people around the world doing such cool stuff. So that's been fun. And then in terms of people helping me, I have a virtual assistant. I have a WordPress tech guy, so they've been great on that front. And I had a lady actually just volunteer her services after she read about it and just said, look, I can give you 10 hours of my time a week to help in any way. So she's in communication, so she's helping trying to get a press release together to try and give it some sort of story and also reaching out to entrepreneurial associations and communities in order to ask them to spread the word because obviously those are the people we'd love to reach and say, hey, this is a cool initiative.
Wow. Yeah, the same thing happened with me with Unsex Trafficking Day. I was like, I'm not going to be able to afford to pay all these people to help me. And sure enough, somebody came forward, just volunteered. So beautiful. And that's what happens.
Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you had lots of supporters as well who were just stepping up to say, how can I support you in this? How can I spread the word? And I've had the same. And it's really heartening because it's often on those days when you're like, I can't do this. And they come along and just blow your mind.
You say on your website, I saw that you say what matters is living a life with purpose, one where you make impact, and leave a legacy that you're proud of. So what are you most proud of at this moment?
Wow, man, did I say that? That sounds like what am I most proud of? Do you know what? It's taken a while for me to pat myself on the back over these last couple of years of running my business and building it. So I guess I'm just most proud of the fact that 2 years later I'm doing what I love. I feel like one of the luckiest people in the world. I get to work on creative initiatives and work with amazing people to help them build their businesses and their lifestyles. So I guess I'm just proud of sticking that out when I really often didn't even know exactly where that would take me. Believing in my instinct and staying true to my path, because as you probably know, there's definitely times when you go through that dip, and just getting to where I am today. I guess I'm really proud of that and doing it with integrity and having a lot of fun.
I'm making a difference for sure.
Yeah.
as personally myself, as a business coach who teaches women the power of building philanthropy into your business, I adore what you are all about, obviously. I love it. I love it. I'm so attracted to it. And it really seems like you're in love with giving. And it really shows throughout the vast majority of the projects you've taken on. Why do you feel it's so important for entrepreneurs to do that? And have you always done that since day one?
Oh, that's lovely that it comes across that way. I'd hope so. I haven't done it from day one. In fact, I think even when I was young, I got kind of involved with some charities, but I never really felt like it was much. It was like donate a few dollars here, do a little bit of volunteering there. And I guess last year I donated, I think it was 5 or 10% of all my profits from my product launch to a couple of female-based charities, so one girl. And I just thought, oh, this is so neat. This is like a way of actually making some serious impact and donating a significant amount of funds. And the people are always so appreciative. So that was my first foray into it. And then we ran the Women Entrepreneurs Mastermind, and we did that again, and they were super excited. I gave away a percentage of my profits from my affiliate sales last year as well, and it just felt good, and it actually felt like it was going somewhere because it was significant. And I also picked the charity, so I was like, oh, I feel like I'm invested more in them, like I have a vested interest. And then I guess it became really full on this year, as you know, when I went biking across Africa, and for 2 months I was doing crazy distances on my bicycle, and I was like, well, if I'm doing such a radical trip, it's not just about me. Like, it's my personal journey, but surely I can put this towards something good. And quite a few of the riders did. And I chose Women Win because I'm so into sports, and I love that they're a charity that basically help young girls to gain confidence and rights through learning how to play different sports. So it's just absolutely perfectly aligned. And a neat organization helped me out. Was so delighted that I was going to raise money for them. Never had an individual fundraiser decide to do that. So they were supportive and super helpful. They even bought me lunch when I got back and bought me a little bicycle belt. But yeah, I had no idea. I set this goal of trying to raise $10,000 US dollars, and had no idea, and just asked and begged and promoted and gave stories and told stories and did some cool things and just got the word out, and people just really loved the idea, and they thought it was a very cool challenge to bike from Kenya to South Africa, and I ended up raising $12,500. So
that's amazing.
Blew my mind because never ever raised that much money in my life, and thought 10,000 was pretty daunting. So yeah, it was neat, and that was when I really was like, oh, you can make a significant impact, because the video that I put out later to thank everybody, I actually was able to tell them where that money had gone, how many tournaments they'd funded, how many soccer balls, how many uniforms, how many girls they put through coaching programs. And so I think that was more tangible for people. They were like, okay, this is where my money went. This is who I've helped.
That's great. And that's exactly what I was about to go into. Because, you know, that is when I really when you first came on my radar, not like you weren't already on my radar, but that's when I was like, oh my gosh, she's like really doing something huge here. So what was like the biggest lesson you learned from doing that? If you could pick one or two.
You know what? Probably two things. Sometimes people surprise you with their generosity. Sometimes people surprise you with their lack of generosity. So I guess when something's so dear to your heart, you just assume that people will hopefully embrace it and love it. And some people who had so little money gave, and they gave twice, or they gave a significant chunk of like their income, which blew my mind. They supported it, they wrote about it, they shared it on social media, and they just encouraged me. And then there were other people who you just, you know, maybe they get tons of requests, but just wouldn't even respond. And that always surprised me, because often they're the people who seem like they've got so much going on and so much wealth, and they're always preaching about what you should give. So I guess they were just two really interesting lessons for me. And you see it in societies as well when you travel. Often the people with the least give the most. So I love that. And I also think just the power of community to get behind something, make something a worthy cause, make it something that impacts lots of others, and you'll get a great response. And also it takes you out of your own problems or out of your own little world of, oh, you know, I've got this fear around that. It's all about doing something bigger for more people. Suddenly it just so much more purposeful.
It's like the shift in your mind goes from being consumed with whatever it is, your website launch or whatever you're worried about, and it just shifts towards something that you can really make an impact on. And it's amazing what it does for you.
Well, you know about that.
Incredibly inspiring. It's very, I mean, and it just shows you what one single person can do and how they can get that whole community around you. And if everybody just did one thing like that in their lives, what we could all accomplish. It's awesome. So tell everyone how they can jump on board the $100 Change Initiative, how they can help you.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, first of all, they can go to, the easiest is probably suitcaseentrepreneur.com/change. All the details are there. There's ways to just become part of the movement, to share and tweet and put out the word about it. Because obviously the more people who are involved, the more money there is potentially to be able to put into the scholarships, and the more then there is to be able to give to these people's dreams and fund them. So either way, you're getting like this great sense of wisdom from all these change makers, and then you can choose to try and receive that back 10 times or fund somebody else's dreams. So just in whatever way, if they go to suitcaseentrepreneur.com/change, that'd be wonderful. If people want to write about it, share about it, do an interview, talk about their own experiences of where they'd invest $100 if they had it today, or how much that would mean to them, how much impact they could make, that would be fantastic.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. You are just this incredible example of someone really living a life full of adventure and empowerment and freedom, and just from one female entrepreneur to another. Thank you so much for what you do.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel much fuzzy now.
Thank you.